Hello everyone, this is Mr. Yashudhatullah, your educator. Today we'll be talking about a very important topic in your PSIR Optional Mains 2026 and 2027. It actually weighs very good with regard to its appearance into the examination. We are talking about here US Hegemony. This is the topic of discussion today we have, and you are going to get a very brief and very comprehensive lecture on it, which is enough to write around 150 words in your examination. And if you just see the 2025 PSIR mains optional paper, you are having 4 questions on USA. So it's very clear now. It's very clear now that whatever the USA is doing, whatever it has relations with European Union, any relations with Asian countries, any relations with African, their military collaborations, their economic collaborations, and however, whenever they come and have the dialogue and discussion and agreements whatsoever with India also, you have to learn about it. Okay, remember this point. Many of you may be not knowing that, or many of may be told that, okay, whenever India's aspect is there, then only you have to learn the international relations with that particular country. It is actually very wrong. Why? Because if you see the 2025 mains PSIR optional paper, you can see that USA relations with Western Asia, they have given the question. Okay, USA impact of tariff on the world, like that they have given the question. It means that there is no direct link with India and USA, but still the questions have come just on what USA. I hope this is all clear to you. This lecture is important for all those students who are preparing for UPSC, and also those students who wanted to do very good in geopolitics. Okay, wanted to understand more of international relations, wanted to understand more of what global affairs and global news. Okay, and this is something which is going to help them, to prepare any notes, to prepare them any lecture. Okay, right. So here we are talking about US hegemony. You know that very well. Okay, hegemony is nothing but, so first of all, let us define what is hegemony. Hegemony is nothing but any coercive action taken, any influence in any other country, any you can say that dictation of terms. Okay, any command of, okay, from any country, then even especially US here, to US here, on any other country. Okay, or to follow the US, okay, US determined decisions, and also what US determined interest. Okay, so this is called as what hegemony, and USA does it with the help of what, 3 or 4 important tools that I am going to discuss, which is going to be why US is able to do the hegemony across the world. Why it is able to do it. Okay, we'll get to know in a bit. Please stay with me. So here we are having US hegemony, any course reaction, any influence on any other country, dictating any country to do this or that, commanding any country, okay, to fall in line or to follow USA determine decision makings, and also what interest. That is what is called as what hegemony. And when you're talking about hegemony comes from where? Remember this point, hegemony actually. Okay, so when you are powerful, okay, when you are powerful, okay, and when the country is powerful, when we say the country is powerful, not that the leader is having what, okay, very big stature or is 7 foot, something like that. It's not like that. Powerful country is nothing but a country where the society is very much developed. Society is developed. Okay, their economy is always thriving. Their banking and finance are at best and peak level of developments. Okay, their military strength and military strategies are benchmark strategies across the country, across the world. Their technology is superior to most of the country's technology. Okay, that is what it is there. Okay, plus it has larger share, and it has the very good amount of share in various international organizations. When we talk about WHO, when you talk about ILO, when you talk about United Nations sector, so and so forth, or you also have the World Bank, so and so forth. Okay, this makes a country, my dear students, powerful. Remember this point here. Okay, powerful country is one. Okay, and the leader is called as what, a very powerful leader, because he holds the strength of all of these important okay, areas where many of the countries are still struggling and are not able to develop as much as what they have developed. Okay, so when do we call a country as powerful country? The country which is having what, a very good societal development is there. If you talk about educational status of the USA, very very good. If you talk about health indicators, they are also very very good. If you talk about egalitarianism, which is nothing but giving equal rights to the women, that is also very very good. Okay, if you talk about any casteism, is completely not there. And you know that the infrastructure is just wow. It's just wow over there. That's how it is. Okay, I'm not talking about the bad, and a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of Instagrammers says that okay, USA also have gutter, nalas, etc. So and so forth. I'm not going to the deep discussion of all of that. Okay, that is minor things of their lives. Okay, but majority of the things, they do have unemployment, they do have problems with regard to infrastructure, they do have problems with regard to drugs, they do have problems with regard to the crime. But this is all what can be enforced through the laws, through the enforcement agencies. They can do it well. But the thing is that they do have this or not. This is more important here. They do have this. So that's the reason we have to discuss about this, and which we do not have. Okay. So they have a good amount of social development is there. Then you are having what economic thrive. You know that US is the largest economy in the world, $45 billion. They have the economy, which is nothing but first. And you know that we are having like 3.1 trillion or something like that is there. So you just see that what is their economic size. Economic size is nothing but the value of goods and services they produce. Okay, whatever they produce, if you do into value, into price, so that comes to so big. And we are just 13, and I guess China is around 14. Okay, European Union complete is around okay 30, something like that. So okay, just imagine a point here that it is something like which is very single country, 45 trillion dollars, very huge. So that's why this economic strength is too high. And most of them are what high-tech products and services, obviously, like Adobe Photoshop we use, Canva we use, Facebook, YouTube, etc. So and so for all of the services coming from what I say is that USA, and you do have the missile systems over there, you do have the health systems over there. Okay, the machines, MRIs, etc. So and so forth, they're all been okay, genetically modified crops, all that research and development also they are doing. Okay, so their economy is very thriving economy. Thriving economy is nothing but where you are able to this is also very important for you or to understand what is the meaning of thriving economy. Okay, I'll just try to put it in a very good fashion because okay, that helps you to make a nose. That is, oh, we talk about social development, and I'm now talking about economic. Economy is thriving. What is the meaning of economic thriving? Remember this point here, that whenever we talk about economic thriving, it is nothing but investment is very good in the particular country. Okay, and economy is ever growing is there in the country, and inflation is stable in the particular country. Okay, and you have the country is self-sufficient. The country is self-sufficient with regard to goods and services, and the country is able to produce what okay, scratch to the high-tech product. They get able to do it very easily. And a country is which is what very export oriented country, exporting country, this is what is called as what economy is thriving. This is called as what economy is thriving. And if you see that USA have all of this, USA have all of this. Okay, and if we compare India with the USA, investments we are having very less. Okay, ever growing, yes, ever growing, but very lesser economic growth rate. Inflation is like not so good. It is increasing. Self-sufficient, almost like many apart from agriculture, all other industrialized or service sector, very good products we are have been importing. So we are very bad here. Okay, high tech we do not have because we do not do R&D. You know that R&D is very bad. We are not exporting country. The value of export that we do, the agriculture, that is very small. So we're not exporting country. So just imagine that they have all having all of this, and we are having only couple of it. That's the thing. That's the thing that I'm talking about. Okay, so society developed, and if you compare the USA and also with India, you know that society here is in USA, society is egalitarian society. We do not have women empowerment. We are trying to do, but still men and women are not put on the same pedestal. You know that very well. Poverty levels are very bad to us, very good to them. Educational literacy rate is almost like 100% to them. We are having 74.04 according to census health indicators, IMR, MMR, U5MR, all of them are very good here. We are having very bad here, right? This caste rigidities are not there. Caste rigidities are there here. Okay, law enforcement is very awesome. Just quiet. 2 minutes, the police will come here. Law enforcement is very bad. Justice delivery system is very good. Justice delivery system very bad. So you can say that society is actually very well developed in the when it comes to the positive aspects about the society. It is very well developed. Whereas the negative aspects, as I told you, that is already there. Like drug menace, they are having what problems of what global warming, etc. So and so forth. But in and out, if we talk about positives, even though we do not have them, we do not have the share the same positives that way they are saying. Okay, that's why social development is one economic saving is. And now when we talk about the tech development. Who can compete with USA? You can compete with USA with regard to what technology? With regard to technology, they are having what? They are having the superior technology when compared to all other nations. Okay, we will have a missile. We will have a missile that can hit a target in 1 hour. They will have a missile which can hit a target in 1 minute. You know that the bunker, the bunker buster missiles, no country possesses apart from Russia and USA. And USA technology is far better. The missile can go deeper 30 meters and can blast the bunker. So just imagine the point here that that technology no one has it, they have it. Okay, superior missile system, tactics, strategies, etc. So and so forth. Very lavish and very high tech. They are having what ships, cargoes, etc. So and so forth. So they are superior with regard to what intelligence, also surveillance, also technological development is too much for them. Okay, now let me talk about what economic size. As I've told you that their economic size is too huge. It is uncomparable with any other economy. It is like $45 trillion. We are having three, and US China comes around 14. So very large distance is there when we compare our economy with the US economy. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, so this is how a country will become powerful. This is how a country will be powerful, and the country's presidents and the country's leaders are called as such a powerful leader from a powerful country. Okay, because okay, all of these we want. If they don't give us, then obviously we are not developing so good. Obviously, right? So that's the reason all the countries will go and talk about perks, privileges, benefits, advantages, MOUs. Please give us this, please. And I've already told you that they have having good presence, larger presence in international institutions, whether ILO, whether United Nations, whether WB, whether International Monetary Funds, whether UNESCO, UNDP, what so not. They are having what quite a good say with regard to what various international organizations, and because they are funding this and these are funding the developing countries, so obviously the financial devolution or financial distribution is actually coming from what developed nations like USA. That is why USA is able to do the collar up and the sleeves up. Why? Because that's how they are enjoying the military strength, social development, technological development, etc. So and so forth. Now, let us see some hegemony. Let us see some hegemony examples. One is that they are doing with regard to what directly showing aggression towards the countries. And you can see that, for example, Venezuela is there. Venezuela is there. The president has been taken out. Okay, from the Venezuela, they have just taken the president out from the Venezuela, and just they take okay, they have removed the president, and they have put the president of a particular country, okay, into the detention center in the New York. Just imagine a president has been picked up and put in the detention center of the New York. How bad the reputation of the president will be, the country will be. Okay, Venezuela or Mexico, I'm not very sure. Please write in the comment section if I'm wrong, so I can recollect that Mexico could be possibilities there, but Venezuela has come to my mind. Okay, but Mexico is also possible. This is called as what aggression. Okay, another one is what US is doing. Okay, what US is doing is complete tariff frauds. Okay, they are actually recently, you can see 10% of the tariff has been levied on India for regard to forced labor. Okay, that is Japan and China, they have levied around 12.5%. 50% of the our pharma products has been taxed by the USA. So they are doing what tariff war. Okay, you want to sell the products in a country, then you have to give this tax, otherwise go away. So where, so because that countries are having good per capita income, they can buy our products, so we have to go and sell in the markets where our products are sold or sold or not. Yes, so that is why we are saying okay, so tariff war is another one. Then directly, this is not the aggression, this is something which is like directly waging a war. You know that they have a long history of waging a war against they have done in, yeah, they have done in Iraq, then they have done in Afghanistan, then they have done in what now they are doing in Iran. Now they are doing in the complete West Asia crisis, the complete Gulf crisis. Okay, US is equally responsible without any having being a superpower. Being a superpower, it can be a messiah for many of the countries for the global peace, but it does not follow that particular strategy. So carrot and stick policy, the US follows. The diplomatic relations can change anytime. Okay, they can pull up the stick anytime and hit the countries, or they can be cool. Okay, they can use a carrot and give the, that is what the carrot policy is basically followed towards what you just remember, the country which is very unfortunate to have on the planet Earth. Okay, that country, I don't say the country is bad, I say the people, the power dispensation and the terrorism. So we are talking about here Pakistan. Pakistan is enjoying the carrot policy. India is enjoying the stick policy. Okay, balance, both carrot and stick we are enjoying. Iran is enjoying the stick policy. Again, we are having what aggression. This is also what stick policy. President को ही उठा रही, अब क्या ही बचा. Okay, so this is what aggression is there. Tariff wars is there. Okay, you can see that here direct waging a war is there. Then diplomatic soft power also they are able to have with regard to what Pakistan in order to put themselves into geopolitical positions to know the things what is happening in the Asia, know the things what is happening there. This is called as what hegemony. This is called, and controlling international institutions, and also they have revoked their membership from the United Nations framework of communication climate change. From that also they have revoked there. So this is how US is paralyzing the complete world with regard to various policies. I hope till now it is very much clear to you. Do join my classes, test series, and mentorship in Sosin Academy. I will be more happy to help you out in any way that I can do and to make your score very high. So have a nice day and bye bye. Take care. Okay, and happy Independence Day well in advance.